Well, I've probably said this a bazillion times already, but I'm just going to say it again because it bears repeating constantly at this time. One of the things I've missed most in the last 15 months, that's over a year, has been sitting here with kids. I'll just be honest that sometimes that's more of an adventure than I was kind of hoping for, but it always is, and it's always exactly what we describe it as. It's learning together. It's not children's time or story time. It's learning together because we are. And without the kids here, well, we've tried. We got comfy chairs in each church. We got a nice big brown comfy chair here that I'd sit in, and we started having a story like a book on a regular basis. Every so often, I just like introduce it. And we'd watch it. We'd watch a story, and that's great. It is, I think. I hope some of the books were meaningful. I hope that the big comfy chair gave, sort of a sense of, I don't know why we did that. Graham, why'd we do that? The comfy chair thing. I know, because it looked more relaxed, like we were doing something with kids. That's the problem, right? Is that the point of this moment is learning together. And there's no learning together if we're not having conversation. And the best part of that conversation isn't me, it's the wisdom of the children. It's the questions of the children. It's the amazing stuff that comes out of their mouth. Some of it's funny and entertaining. Some of it is incredibly wise. And all of it is an opportunity for us to learn. And, I think this is a Sunday, this is the end of June, and this is a Sunday, or maybe last week or the week before, that we'd be wrapping up church school, or what we call Pinocchio United Church Kids or Bashaw United Church Kids, our children's program. We'd be wrapping that up. We might be having a church picnic, something like that, to wrap up the year. And of course, we're not. And we didn't last year either. Missing that too, by the way. And adults, please don't think I'm not missing you also, because I am. But this is the moment. There's no other moment on a Sunday morning where all the adults gather around me and we have a conversation. It's with the kids. And one of the things I was thinking about today, that one of the things that amazes me the most about that is how often the story that we're trying to tell them from the Bible, it's not about kids. There's no kids in it. How hard must it be to get a handle on that when you can't see yourself in the story? So we try and tell the story a little bit different sometimes, or we luck into one of those moments where there's actually children in the story, like the one of the versions of the feeding of the 5,000, is that there's a little boy who has some fish and some loaves of bread. That's great. Of course, really, he's only in the story so that Jesus can then turn that into something more. There is one story that we pass over far too often and far too quickly. Although, if you've ever been in a Sunday school room in a church, the odds are pretty good you've seen a picture. It's that story of Jesus welcoming the children, right? The disciples are trying to hold them back, and the parents have been bringing their kids to be blessed by Jesus, and the disciples are holding them back, and Jesus goes, "Don't do that. Let them come. Let them come." And then we turn it into a story about how we need to be more childlike, which is fine, except we missed a piece there, I think. I don't think the kids came to Jesus, he patted them on the head and sent them on their way. I think Jesus sat down and had a conversation with them. They were learning together. And that's the thing with kids in church, right? Is that we so often have geared so much to adults. Let's say that, adults. First of all, we've kind of not paid attention to the kids. And secondly, we've not paid attention to the fact that there are children of all ages. And indeed, that's part of why we tell that story, is that Jesus is reminding us to always be in touch with the child that's in us. That's why it's such an important story. I wish we told it more often. In fact, now that I think about it, I'm not sure that it actually even occurs in the lectionary. So if you're using the lectionary, and that story appears in Matthew, Mark, and Luke. It's in 3 of the 4 Gospels, and we don't tell it often enough. In fact, we should tell it at least 3 times because there's 3 different versions of it. But none of those stories, again, none of those stories, those versions, tell us what kind of conversation Jesus had with them, what kind of learning together they had. They tell us one very simple thing, which is, of course, the most important thing. And it's the most important thing we should always be telling children when we're being Jesus, because we are. You are loved. That's the thing about the story. If you're kids in this story, it's not just about the wonder and the curiosity and the innocence and all that stuff that we talk about. You are loved. Every last one. Every first one. Every one. You are loved. And in a minute, we're going to sing a song about how the Bible tells us that, but in fact, it's not the Bible that tells us that, it's Jesus that tells us that. You are loved.